will be there to ensure we protect the people of Ontario and the ratepayers. Thank you.
New question, the member from Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke.
Thank you, Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Energy. Minister, let me help by laying out how the Ontario Electricity Financial Corporation works under the law. Currently, the OEFC has about $11.2 billion in stranded debt on top of the $17 billion it is guaranteed from a Hydro One sale. The OEFC currently pays down that $11.2 billion debt through the profits made at Hydro One and OPG. But, Minister, if you sell any portion of Hydro One, that revenue stream that is used to pay down the debt will shrink. So how will the OEFC pay down the electricity debt if you take away its primary source of income?
Thank you. Minister of Energy.
Minister of Finance.
Minister of Finance. The members will come to order. Carry on.
It's a great question coming from a member who's the critic, who actually was part of the government that created the residual debt and now this retirement charge that the people of Ontario and the ratepayers have to repay. And as a result, we have taken the precautions and the necessary steps to bring it down. The member opposite should also know, and he knows fully well, that it's a function of the revenues coming through that stream. And when those change, it changes the amount of the residual debt. We're taking every precaution and every care necessary to get it reduced. We're helping the people of Ontario because of the damages that they created in the past. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Supplementary.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Speaker, I've never actually sat in government, but I am looking forward to the day. Again to the Minister of Energy.
It'll be soon.
Minister, we know how you're going to pay down the debt on OEFC if you sell Hydro One. You're going to introduce new charges on the bills of electricity ratepayers. It's the only way you people know how to do business. Hydro prices are already unaffordable. And just last week you admitted that they're going to go up by about $140 per year per customer. I can only imagine what the increase will be when you realize you have to pay down the OEFC debt with less revenue coming from less ownership in Hydro One. Minister, what new charges will the electricity ratepayers of Ontario see on their bills in order to pay down the debt that you are ignoring?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, a couple of things. The OEB is going to be a regulator. It is now, and it will continue to be as we proceed forward in any initiatives in regards to pricing. Of course, the minister, and I'll let him take the next supplementary, has done an excellent job of finding ways to mitigate and protect the people of Ontario and ratepayers as we proceed forward. The member opposite also is part of a party whose potential leader is talking about looking at this very issue. They're working on the premise that they want to be able to look at the valuations and the assets that we have before us to see how we can improve upon them. The member opposite and his team are the ones that have also initiated some of these ideas as they follow our lead, Mr. Speaker. We will lead. We will continue to do what's right to protect the interests of the public. Thank you.
Okay. Final supplementary.
After 12 years of this mess, they've even confused themselves, Speaker. So let's recap again to the Minister of Energy. The OEFC needs revenue to pay down the $11.2 billion of debt that it currently holds. But by selling off Hydro One, you're going to have to share that revenue with a new buyer. That means less money for the OEFC to pay down that debt. The only way your Liberal government will make up that lost revenue is by hosing electricity ratepayers yet again. Minister, when are you going to tell the ratepayers that electricity bills are going to continue to skyrocket when you try to pay down the $11 billion debt that you're responsible for?
Minister of Energy, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the member is beginning with a false premise. He's beginning with a supposition or a speculation as to what we might be bringing forward, Mr. Speaker. But let's talk about the general principle. I have a quote here, Mr. Speaker, that I'd like to read. This quote says, as Premier,
The member from Stormont, Dundas and South Glengarry will come to order. Carry on.
The quote I have, Mr. Speaker, says, as Premier, I will order an immediate review of all assets owned by government. Assets that don't serve the core functions of government will be divested, and every dollar made will be invested in new infrastructure right across our province. Let's use the full value of these assets to build the roads, highways, subways, and infrastructure that every Ontario can use. That is from Christine Elliott, member from Whitby, Oshawa, Mr. Speaker, in her campaign. That's part of her campaign. She should walk over here and join us.
New question.